Hi everyone, this is Dr. Salwa. I hope you are all safe and sound. We will explain today chapter 4, Understanding the Role of Culture. This chapter will talk about culture and its effect on organization, the culture variables, and the culture value dimensions. This chapter key terms are culture survey, culture sensitivity or culture empathy, culture of a society, self-reference criterion, parochialism, and ethnocentrism, and we will explain in details. Culture survey, it's a working knowledge of culture variables affecting management decision. It's to have the knowledge and expertise and intelligence to be able to understand the different culture around you and respect the culture of every person so you can make the right management decision. Culture sensitivity or culture empathy, it's an awareness and an honest caring about another individual culture. For example, if you're working in a multinational corporation and there are different nationalities working together, you must respect each person's culture because they come from different backgrounds, so that you have to respect their cultures. Culture of a society comprises the shared values, understanding, assumptions, and goals that are learned from earlier generations, imposed by present members of a society and passed on to succeeding generation. It's the culture that will be inherited from one generation to another. It's the values, norms, beliefs that will guide them through time. Self-reference criterion, the unconscious reference point of one's own culture value. It's something that will be inherited in your personality that will make you behave in the way you do. It's what makes you see things right or wrong. Parochialism is when a person expects when he goes to another country that people will automatically behave in a way consistent with his own culture. For example, when a Frenchman goes to another country, he automatically thinks that they will behave according to the French culture. Ethnocentrism describes the attitudes of those who operate from the assumption that their way of doing things are the best, no matter where or under what condition they are applied. They think that their culture and the way they do work is the best way. Culture and its effect on organization. We have the national variables, including economic system, legal, political, technological, physical, and we have the socio-culture variables, religion, education, language, which will form the culture values, the values, norms, beliefs that will guide you and will shape your personality. This will affect your attitude in work, how you perceive time, materialism, individualism, how is your attitude toward change, and also it will affect how you perceive your job, how you expect to be motivated, how you will be committed to your organization, the ethics that will guide your relationship in the organization. For example, when a manager is assigned to a multinational company with different nationalities, different culture, he have to expect differences among the people working with him because they all come from different backgrounds, different culture, they have different religion, different language. Their legal and political backgrounds are different. So he have to respect each person and know what to expect from him. This is a story to show you how different culture can be interpreted in wrong ways. For example, once upon a time there was a great flood. Involved this flood were two creatures, a monkey and a fish. The monkey, being agile and experienced, was lucky enough to scramble up a tree and escape the raging waters. As he looked down from his safe perch, he saw the poor fish struggling against the swift current. With the best of intention, he reached down and lifted the fish from the water. The result was invisible. Of course, The monkey intention was good, is to save the fish, but he looked from his own culture, from his own beliefs, which of course led to the death of the fish. Manager can never assume that they can just transplant American or Japanese or any other country style practices, expectations, and process. This is not how it works. You can just throw your culture away and put in another one. This is not how it works. Culture require years to be built. It's the belief norms that you were raised upon. So managers need to develop a culture profile that identifies the specific differences found in each country. So he can understand each country and each culture so he can act accordingly. Residents of another country only can confirm with the national character and to their culture in a certain degree. They can be just like them. They have to cope, of course, with their culture and respect their culture, and they respect his culture, so they can have a good relationship. And also good managers have to avoid any stereotyping. For example, he can say all Muslims are 1, 2, 3, or all Egyptians are lazy, or whatever. No, you have to deal with each individual and his personality differently. Stereotyping is something that he must avoid because it's one of the main mistakes of managers. So to develop this culture profile, managers need to be familiar with the kind of universal culture variables found in most societies that make up unique clusters and provide a snapshot of the overall character of specific group. So Harris and Moran identified 8 categories that form the subsystem in any society. Number 1, kinship. It guides the family relationship. Education, formal or informal education of worker affect workplace expectations. Economy, means of production and distribution in society influence all aspects of resource allocation. Politics, system of government imposes varying constraint on an organization. The religion, spiritual belief of a society are so powerful that they overpower all other culture aspects. Association, the formal and informal group that make up a society. Health, system of healthcare affects employee productivity. Recreation, the use, attitude, and choice of how to use the leisure time. Culture value dimensions. Values are society's idea about what is good or bad, what is right or wrong. Project Globe cultural dimension. It can be assertiveness, to be tough and competitive, or to be soft and tender, or you can be future oriented, planning and investing, or you focus on the short term to gain now than to focus on the future. We have performance orientation, to be focused on performance, profits, working, or no, you can balance. You want to have a family. You can accept some competition, some defeat in return of other things that you won't sacrifice. Human orientation, fairness, generosity, caring, kindness, or you will focus on power and self-enhancement and your own profit and focus on yourself only. Multinational corporations may find it less risky and more profitable to expand into more similar culture rather than those which are drastically different because they think that they know their culture, they know how to deal with people of this culture, so it is easier to manage people they understand than to study a new culture and to develop new ways to manage them. So Hofstede suggested that culture values in any country could be reflected in the way business within this country are operated. So he focused on 5 main dimensions. Number 1, the power distance. It's how much people accept equality in power. High power distance reflects an acceptance of power inequality among institutions, organizations, and individuals. Low power distance means people expect equality in power. For example, in some culture, you can find people tend to have titles such as boss, professor, rather than to call him with his first name. And workers are called subordinates and they are supervised closely. In other culture, you can find the subordinates are called co-workers. They are not that much supervised. They can take initiatives. So this is how power distance from one country can differ from another. Number 2, uncertainty avoidance, the degree to which members of a society feel uncomfortable with uncertainty and ambiguity that support beliefs, behavior that promise certainty and conformity. So you will find him tending to stick to rules, avoid any risk, is resistant to change, highly formalized. Number 3, it's individualism, a value for a loosely knit social framework in which individuals are expected to take care of themselves. So you will find them tending to attract attention to their contribution and accomplishment. They don't like teamwork. Organizations that working under this concept are based on hiring and firing and so on. On the contrary, collectivism is preference for a tightly knit social framework in which people look out for one another and organizations protect their member interests. So you will find this workplace tend to be more cooperative. People are tend to work in teamwork. Also, we have masculinity versus femininity. This refers to the degree to which gender roles are distinct and adhered within the society. We will find in a masculinity society, males are dominant, while in femininity society, they are treated equally and fairly. Finally, we have confusion versus dynamism. This refers to the extent to which long-term and short-term appear to be dominant approach. Long-term suggests persistent, short-term involves greater emphasis on quick results. So it's like focusing on present and focusing on future. You prefer to gain 10 now than 100 in the future. These were the 5 values and dimensions of Hofstede. I hope you all understand this lesson. If you have any questions, you can contact me and see you next time. Thank you so much for your time.